Okay, so the first thing we talked about in class is the four knows. It's know yourself, know your students, know your content, and know your pedagogy. So the first thing is know yourself. Biggest thing out of that is that teachers are filters. They get to decide what information goes through the filter and to their students and how they teach that. Know your students is just basically getting to know them a little bit and the different types of learners in your classroom so you don't just teach one way, you teach multiple ways to fit those students. Know your content is what you're teaching, and then knowing the pedagogy is how you're teaching it, just like I said, the different types of learners and different ways to teach. Personal and professional identity, they are different because personal is more about the person, and then professional is about that person in their profession. Um, and they're similar because it's pretty much the same person, just the same different characters and the same goals. Professional and personal identity of teachers matters in PE because we have to know how to be ourselves, but also teaching students PE and how to combine that as well. The differences between a job and a profession. So a job is something really anyone can do, and a profession is something only professionals can do. I remember we used the example of class is how me and my brother would do DoorDash. That would be something as a job, but something similar to that that would be a profession would be a NASCAR driver, something that we wouldn't be able to do. But and then the same thing with employees and professional. An employee would be me and my brother, excuse me, door dashing, and then a professional would be the NASCAR driver. Student identity is related to PE and teaching. It's relating to students and knowing how best they learn. Um, like I said before, with knowing your students, you have to figure out what type of learners you have in your classroom before you actually start teaching. Because if someone likes visual learning and all you're doing is the audio learning, they're not going to learn the best. So you have to learn to incorporate all of that stuff. Culture relevant pedagogy and its importance is because with diversion and inclusion in PE, it's not all going to be the same race or gender in the gym classrooms. There's going to be plenty of all different type of characteristics, and you, as a PE teacher, you have to learn to use all those different characteristics, but include them in the same things. Um, and then the savage inequalities thing, we read about the article. It reveals things about students, teaching, schools, and money. It's very different amongst schools. It depends what school district you're in, but it's kind of crazy to think about when, like in the example in the article was Cherry Hill and Camden. They're really very close to each other, but they're completely different when it comes to their school systems and the students in it and the teachers. Um, and then, so physical education is mostly a learning process. Um, Most people think that all the teachers do is just roll out the balls and students do whatever they want and they can have fun, but it's more supposed to be learning and the learning process, and learning things that they can use for the rest of their lives, like skills and to keep healthy and active. Um, the main goal of physical education is to be active and learn, not necessarily to have fun. That can definitely be an incorporating part of that and probably a very important part of that. But the main goal is not to have fun, but it's just PE should be uh, to teach. So I'm sorry, to learn and not necessarily have fun. Um, the what is learning then? It is a change in behavior and based on what was taught. So whatever the teacher taught that day, the students are most likely going to have a change behavior in that topic, and that's good. That means that students are most likely learning. And the domains of learning are cognitive, affective, and psychomotor. The way I like to think of it is cognitive is the head, affective is the heart, and psychomotor is the head. Um, it's important in PE because I mean the main one you think is psychomotor because that's what most of the time they use during gym, but also cognitive in the head and affective in the heart to making sure students are not only learning but also enjoying. Like I said before, fun is a part of it. It's not the main part, but um, and going along with this is the relationship of active and fun. Like we talked about in class, active is QPE, which is quality PE, and then fun would be called TPE, which is trash PE. Um, Kind of just the same thing again. Active PE would be better because it's quality and they're learning, not necessarily having fun. But I think there is an aspect where students should be having fun as well, though. Um, and what to determine while teaching PE as a society? It's based on what needs to be taught for that certain society. Depending on what sports they play, like we talked in class about how years ago they had to learn how to do certain things to become in the military and stuff. Um, and then the outcomes, goals, and objectives is different with standards. So the outcomes are more like, yeah, goals for students, I think, and then standards are what the teachers have to teach. So like an outcome could be a student wants to run a mile in under 8 minutes by the end of the year. um, and they'll have that goal and objective throughout the whole year and work on it and hopefully achieve it. A standard is more just like we've seen in class, like just what the teachers have to teach, um, the requirements more. And then the role that national standards play in PE, it's just a nice guideline for what the teachers have to teach. They don't just want to go all over the place and teach random things. There's a certain amount and certain things that they have to teach.